Dusty,
Yes, sir.
here we are back at the table again.
Back at the table again.
So I got to show you something that came in the mail this week.
Oh, no. What is this?
Somebody sent me, a dear friend, Mark Spear,
Okay.
sent me the Nashville newspaper from the day after the very first Dove Awards.
No way. And has pictures and everything.
It's pretty cool, and I went back and read it. One of the things, I pride myself in a little history. We talked about Bob McConnell designing the first Dove Award.
Yep.
But it says in here that the award was designed by Bob McConnell and Les Beasley.
I did not know
I've
that.
never heard that.
I've never
before.
heard that
So
either.
Mark was there at that show,
and
we'll look at that later.
I love that.
He also sent me a couple of other things that just some old.
Okay, that is very cool.
If you follow Southern Gospel at all,
do.
these
they still have the big the Vaughn singing
in Lawrenceburg.
Every year.
So we'll peel that back
That's
later.
great. Love that.
And
but I'm sure there's some stuff in there about the Spears.
There actually is not, except that they won the first Dove Award for mixed group. Yeah.
Huh.
And back then there were only 11 categories. I think we've gotten over that at this point.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, quite a few over. Yeah.
This is a special episode today.
It is, and I know I'm excited, but I'm excited as a fan. So,
and I've been blessed to be a friend of this guy, but I'm excited as a fan as well because I was a fan before I got to know him. We are excited to welcome Dana Williams of Diamond Rio.
Yeah,
thank you. Thank you for having me.
And if we had an applause track, we'd play it really big time right now.
Big time, several times.
But it's great to have you here.
It's so strange when I walked in because I called my sister right before I got here, and she is a huge country fan, and I'm a huge country fan. But I loved, and you know this, I loved country pop music. So in the '90s, in the 2000s, I'd turn on VH1. I'd turn on CMT.
It was everywhere, no doubt.
It was everywhere.
It was.
Diamond Rio's music.
Yes,
and I was looking at their schedule today. They're still out there traveling left and right and still making great music.
Yeah, they're going left and right and trying to find the center,
That's
I think.
exactly right. That's exactly. So this is exciting. Anyway, I told my sister, I said, "You're not going to believe I'm going to be with Damon from Diamond Rio." And she said, "No, you're not." I said, "Gina, he's going to be on our podcast." "No, he's not.
That's
you guys
awesome.
do just Christian." I said, "Well, he's a Christian." She said, "But I thought you just did Christian." I said, "Gina, Diamond Rio is just great music."
Yes. Gina, I'm right here. I'm right here,
that's
Gina.
Right.
Come
Gina,
on.
so now you're going to listen. I'm with Dana from Diamond Rio.
One of the nicest guys. I don't care what genre you put them in. And I know a little of your story. We'll peel that back a little bit. And,
Come on.
You wouldn't remember this.
This is what, get ready.
Here we go.
This is
And
where
I
it goes.
don't know that I've told you this. If I have, I apologize. But back when it's been a month or so, it's been a minute or two. But I used to go and wait at Jack Anderson Elementary School every afternoon to pick up my daughter when she was in kindergarten.
Yeah.
And all the parents would kind of stand over there on the edge of the grass. And every day I would see Dana Williams.
Right there I am, buddy, picking up my boy.
If you were in town, you were there.
I was there, yeah.
And I was a big enough fan, but there's kind of a etiquette in Nashville that if you see big deals out, you leave them alone. And if I had talked to you once, then you'd have felt obligated to talk every day. You know how that goes, right?
Okay.
I stood there a lot with Sonny Lemaire.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Him and I would stand there a lot.
Did you spy on him?
I was pretty quiet, still am.
You are.
But I remember just thinking, this is one of those only in Nashville. Yeah. And there was a guy, another dad, was it Sturdivant? Do you remember that name from the old Benson days?
John Sturdivant?
John Sturdivant. I knew him.
I think he had, his son had somebody in that same class. And you just kind of, you stand around and... Yeah, this is why I moved here.
That's so funny.
That's crazy because I remember when I was in school, my sister was good friends at that time with Kathy Jenkins.
Yes,
which
Conway's daughter.
Which was Conway's daughter.
Oh, wow.
And then my mother got to be good friends with their mother, Mickey. And of course, that was when it was all a happy family, a happy Twitty family. And one of my moments that I have never forgotten that I wished, that's just the way I was raised. But anyway, I had an old 1968 Pontiac Le Mans, my first car. I was 16 years old. And I went over there to pick Mother up, and Mickey and Kathy was going somewhere. And I said, well, you guys can just ride with us. Okay, so they piled in the back seat of my two-door Le Mans. and now keep in mind, this car was, it's your first car.
Yeah,
It was,
sure.
I think I paid a whole $600 for it. Anyway, they get in, and we're not out of the driveway, and Mickey looks up at me, and she says, Danny, do you mind if I smoke? And I said, absolutely, please don't in my car.
So funny.
That's great.
So
And I'm thinking, man, I just told Mrs. Twitty,
That's so funny.
That's funny.
don't you smoke in my heap.
Were you raised in Hendersonville? Because
I moved
this
here
area?
when I was 11 years
Okay.
old. Came from Dayton, Ohio,
Okay.
and my father come down here, and I had uncles that lived here.
Okay.
So, little trivia.
Okay.
You were actually outside of Dayton in a little town called Beaver Creek.
Beaver Creek, yeah.
Cindy graduated from Beaver Creek High School.
Oh my
Okay.
word!
Okay, that's
It's-
funny.
Is that crazy?
And there's a lot of northern
Yeah.
people in Nashville that
really is.
even in that Dayton area, Dick Tunney
Yeah,
is from
yeah,
right
I
in
knew
there.
that. Yeah. Melissa Brady.
That's
There's
right.
a lot of people.
That's right.
Yeah.
Micah's from Ohio.
Yeah, that's right.
Mark Miller, Sawyer Brown from
Yeah,
Ohio.
yeah.
And those are all people that wanted to be in Michigan and they couldn't make the grade. They had
Dave,
It was just too darn cold
I
up
don't know
there.
about that. Yeah, he did. I love
So
Very
anyway,
cool. I love
so
it.
Dana comes. I'm gonna let you tell the story, but Dana comes from bluegrass royalty
Okay.
in his family.
That's true.
His uncles, his mom's two brothers, Bobby and Sonny Osborne, that had the original cut of Rocky Top.
Yep, I know. We've talked about the Osborne
Yes.
brothers. I
Yes.
mean, that's crazy.
Yeah,
I
they
did
did.
not know that was your
Anyway,
uncle.
they lived here, and my father worked at a place called McCall's Printing Company in Dayton, and computers were starting to come along in the 70s, and it started taking guys. He was a plate maker and a stereotyper, and it started taking those jobs away.
Yeah.
And it came from the north
Yeah.
and started moving south. Well, when it came to the north, they came down here. We was kind of on a semi-vacation, laid-off vacation, come visit the uncles. And while he was here, he called down to the Tennessean, and they said, "Can you come to work tomorrow? We need you right now." And he said, "I can be here next Monday." So we rushed home. And
Wow.
He loaded up the camper, and he came to Hendersonville and parked
Yeah.
in their driveway, in Bobby's driveway, and he took a job at the Tennessean.
Unbelievable.
And I was 11 at that time.
Yeah.
And we stayed in Ohio, and she got the house ready and sold it. And he found a house here, and Thanksgiving of 72, I think.
Golly, wow.
We moved to Hendersonville, Tennessee, and I've been here ever since. So,
Wow.
I remember you kind of there. You probably wouldn't remember the name of a guy named Dave Richardson, but Dave and I hung out together, and none of us were married, and so there wasn't much to do in Hendersonville back in that day except there was an all-night. Do you remember a bowling alley?
absolutely, man.
And
Are you kidding?
I would see because it didn't cost much.
Played
and it was
many a
open.
pinball game in
Yes.
there.
So I was aware of you, and when I first made the connection of Diamond Rio, it was like I didn't even know who you were back then, but I remembered that's the guy that.
Right. So I mean,
so
you bring that up. One of the they had a little club there called the 11th Frame.
Yes,
In there, and
Twitty's son ended up.
he did. I played there. They called me to play there one weekend, and I played there. And the girl singer there was Trisha Yearwood,
no.
and the guitar player was Wendell Mobley.
Wow.
Good
Wow.
night.
Wow.
And we gigged 11th frame, and then
And I
several
remember
years
hearing
later,
that group.
Yeah.
Huh?
Were you on drums or bass?
No, I was playing bass at that time. Yeah,
But you were a drummer.
I was. That's what I started out as. As a kid, we were playing bluegrass.
Okay.
And I was all about Elvis and Ronnie Tutt that played with Elvis. Drums, I was going to be Ronnie Tutt. That's just all there was to it. And I came along and started playing drums and all that. Well, when I was, 13 or 14, we started playing bluegrass with my cousin and friend, now my brother-in-law, and we needed a bass player. And I had a bass at home, and I'd been fooling around with it. So, okay, I'll play bass. So I started playing bass, playing bluegrass. And then I graduated high school, and the first call I got for a job, a man's job, was playing drums. And my buddy said, "Can you still play drums?" I said, "I don't know. Let me have a couple of days to set it up and see if I can still play."
But you not only played, you sang harmony.
Yeah.
And that's not something a lot of drummers can do.
And that helped me a lot because I was a harmony singing drummer.
Oh, yeah.
And boy, I
yeah.
got some calls.
Yeah.
And so I did that for about 6-8 months, and I found it real quick that I don't like being back there.
Yeah.
I don't like setting all that stuff up. I don't like
I
being back
want
there.
to grab my bass and
I'd
just
rather play
go.
bass,
Yeah.
man. It's way less up there.
Did you ever consider harmonica? I mean, you can just walk
It crossed my mind. That or mandolin crossed my mind.
It's funny.
But I finally, to make that transition from drums to bass was a painful process because the phone would only ring to play drums, and I just finally had to start saying, "No, I'm not doing that," and turn down work that I desperately needed.
But you were still living at home.
Oh yeah,
at the time.
broker and a convict, buddy. I mean, son.
I will be using that line.
I mean, there just ain't no doubt about it. And
That's right.
you get this work, somebody call you, and
So you talked about the cousins and Tony Morgan, who's now your brother-in-law.
Right.
So, you met my son, Sam.
Right.
So he had a bass guitar because he was playing. And I heard about somebody that needed a bass. Well, you know how this town is. If you give what you have away, if you see a kid that. Yeah. So I gave Sam's bass away without asking him. But I told him I would buy him a better one, and ended up buying one from Tony.
Oh, did you?
And yes, got him a better bass. And Tony's a good guy, married to Scarlett.
Yeah.
And so another little side story that you'll appreciate, Dusty. We always talk about these things, the relationships, how everybody's connected.
Yep.
I met Dana through one of the weirdest connections, and most uncommon. I wouldn't call her weird, but I would if she were here.
I can.
So you can.
Okay, I'm anxious to hear this.
Cindy goes to a scrapbook retreat and ends up sharing a table, and I'm not sure what all happens at a scrapbook retreat, but they talk a lot.
Oh, I'm sure it's a bunch of ladies, maybe a couple of men, maybe.
I'm kind of scared to find out what goes on in there.
Me too.
So
counseling sessions.
Cindy is sharing a table with a lady named Scarlett, and she comes home and she says, "I met my people." She's even from Beaver Creek. Well, it's Dana's sister.
Yeah.
So we all start connecting dots and realize
That's so funny.
So, and Scarlett, I hate to say something nice about her on the air, but she's a pretty stinking good piano player.
She's man. If you need something
Played correctly.
if you need something that is written, played correctly, she's the one to call. If you want something, if you want "Happy Birthday" played and it's not written, don't call her.
Isn't that interesting?
Okay, that's so funny.
Isn't that something?
Yeah,
That is the honest truth too, buddy. If you need the cantata played, she's the one
give her
to
the
call.
music.
10 staffs at once, that'll be fine.
That's so
buddy,
funny.
as sure as you ask her to play anything
Some
without
chorus of
music,
something.
forget it.
That's funny.
So all that music was in the family. Your cousin Wynn,
Wynn and his brother Robbie both played with Bobby and Sonny over the years.
Wow.
So how young or how old were you when you began to realize that Osmonds were a pretty big deal?
You know what? In my family, even when we lived in Ohio young, it was turn on the Opry 650.
Yeah.
WSM 650 AM, buddy, you tune that in up in Ohio, and we'd listen for Bobby and Sonny.
Yeah.
That just, that was the talk. And, when I lived in Ohio, we lived next door to my grandparents, which their father and mother, which that's all they, of course, like any loving parents, And so that was always a big deal. And then when we moved down here, every weekend when we first got here, it was like, hey, can we go to the Opry? Can we go to the Opry with you? When they were down there. And buddy, we went
So
to
you
the
got to see
Ryman.
that. I mean, not that the Opry still is a heyday, but you saw it back when there was
Back before the Opry House.
Yeah.
When it was just at the Ryman, and my cousin and I would be running around backstage and throwing popcorn at people and all this kind of stuff. One of the stories I remember is along the back wall of the Ryman. This is way before it has been redone inside back there. Yeah. But back there, all the acts would bring their guitars and just leave the case, the floor right there, and it'd be Billy Walker and Charlie Walker and
my God.
right on down the line, every one of them, And I remember two little brat kids, man. Here comes Wynn and I, and we'd come through there and get back there and just untune all them guitars to where you pick them up and those strings are just flopping.
Okay.
And I know that those poor dudes would come up, grab their Grammar guitars and all this stuff, and just.
Okay.
So you've always had a bit of a mean streak.
Just being a punk kid, man.
Did you realize even then, though, as a kid, that this backstage at the Ryman?
I don't think at that age I really grasped exactly what was. Now I think back on it and I think, my gosh, man, I was sitting there with one legend after the other of country music that was in there. I remember Wilma Lee Cooper coming in there needing a seat in the green room and stuff like that, and Stoney sitting there with her, and just all of these
Wouldn't you just love
way back there times, and
there's a we go to the same church,
right,
and he shows up on Sunday when they're in town and just intimidates me. And,
I'm sure.
We've been known to text from the platform. And
why does that not
I'll show him a chord chart of why it should have been written.
Why does that not surprise me?
But I use a guitar, and I think, did I see in your Kick video that maybe Marty had the exact same guitar?
Marty's got one. I got one.
All right.
So, yeah.
So one Sunday morning during sound check, and I play every Sunday, and a lady came up and she said, I need to tell you, you may know this, I don't know, but she said, I need to tell you, that makes me smile every time I see that guitar.
Yeah.
And I said, why is that? She said, I grew up as a kid backstage at the Ryman. And I said, really? In what context? She said, my dad was a member of that. And I said, who is your dad? And she said, do you remember Lonzo and Oscar? And I said, yeah. She said, Lonzo was my dad. I think it was
my word, yeah.
Wow. And she's on the worship team. Yeah. And it's one of those only in Nashville. And you look out at our church and you see Dana.
Yeah.
I
sent him more text apologizing for chords I didn't know.
Oh, my goodness. There's been times, man, that the camera guys, we've got the big screens, and of course it's on. They broadcast there, and there's been times when the special music or something, and the camera guy will focus right on the Grand Ole Opry pick guard, and then pull out from there.
Because nothing says modern worship like the Grand Ole Opry.
That is awesome.
That's right. I've seen it more than once where they do that.
So I got to know his cynical side early, and our kids went to the same school.
Yeah.
And so we would sit at musical, like, how kids do music programs, and through the years we'd text each other and say, if they just turn the mic on, and we, I knew I had kindred
Man,
spirit.
these sixth graders suck.
Do you remember how bad they are?
And there was one of them, and I don't know if you remember, I still have it somewhere, but we got there early, and there was a program, and they were advertising upcoming programs, and there was a typo in the program. And it was advertising an upcoming dance recital, but they left the I out.
Okay, no.
You remember that?
I did.
Okay, dang.
So I texted Dana and I said, I don't think I want to come to this.
Okay,
I don't think so.
okay. Folks, just go back and replay that and listen and spell it out. Just go ahead. Okay.
Yeah, you got a pencil. I'm going to need
that's
a
right. That's exactly right.
And I got one more Dana story. And this has, I think, been 17 years ago. Back before you had cameras on your front door.
Yeah.
Right.
So somebody knocks on our door one night, like in December, and I go out there and there's nobody there, but there's a bucket. You know where I'm headed.
Yeah.
And it had like some pears or something. I'll try to remember this, give it a short version. But it said, on the first day of Christmas, and it had something written in this bucket, a partridge in a pear tree.
Yeah.
Look back to leave the bucket out here tomorrow night. Well, it became a thing where all of our kids, in like on the 5 golden rings, it was Dunkin' Donuts,
Yeah.
Blaze Donuts.
Okay.
It was Dove bars. It was,
Okay,
I forgot we did that.
that is absolutely brilliant.
and then it got to the point where it was a big deal. Our house
Yeah.
trying to figure who was doing this.
And you didn't know it was. You didn't know his name.
We realized that closer it got, it was Dana and his wife.
That is, I love that.
And his wife,
That is
who
a
owns one of the coolest stores in Hendersonville,
What? Okay, I don't know this. Okay.
called the Trendy Trunk.
The
Oh my!
trendy trunk.
I know right where it's at. It's over. I want to say, is it Moe's? Welcome to Moe's is right next to it.
Welcome to Moe's is right
I have
next to
been to it with my wife and with a couple of girls from
That's
the
his
office.
wife.
Good.
Okay,
We'd appreciate all your
it's
deposits.
a great.
We will send you a bill for
those
this
of you that are
advertisement.
listening in Gallatin, Hendersonville, Nashville, it is a great store.
Yeah.
Dottie Leonard, who started our company,
Right.
loved to go there and buy stuff all the time. She'd always tell us, somebody needs to call that store and get some of our gift items all the time.
That's perfect.
I can't wait to tell this to Ed, the
that's
owner of our
good.
company.
That's good.
Trendy Trunk. Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. I did not know that.
So there's just a lot of levels of
I
connection.
love that.
And then there's this little thing called Diamond Rio that you've been with them, 30, how many years?
89.
89.
Is that when they first started? And give
Well,
us a little bit of history.
When I came on, we were still the Tennessee River Boys.
Okay.
And I was the last original member that had been put together at Opryland. You know, this was a band that was put together from Opryland, just, which the theme park that was here in town.
Did you guys play there? Because I went there all the time when we first
Oh,
moved.
the Tennessee River Boys was there.
Did you
They
know
were
this?
they were in the flip side theater, where they had rock and roll on one side and they had country on the other. And the first members was Ty Herndon was
I didn't. I saw him
one of
today.
the
I did not
singers.
know that till I was looking at Wikipedia today.
They were originally called the Grizzly River.
the Grizzly River Boys,
Which
and-
was the name of the Grizzly
ride,
River
and then they
Rampage or
changed
whatever.
it to the Tennessee River Boys. Well, the Tennessee River Boys, as time went on, Ty Herndon went on Star Search, and he come in second, so he left the park. Well, then they grabbed somebody from another show, which was a guy named Marty Rowe, to come in and take Ty's place. And as different ones in the band, Jimmy Olander was in another show, and he come in and was in the Tennessee River Boys. Dan Truman was in another show. They pulled him in. He was leader in some other show.
That is hilarious.
So they all end up as the Tennessee River Boys. Well, then, as time went on, they learned that, hey, man, if we want to have a commercial career, we got to get out of this park. And we got to change our name, because Tennessee River Boys is too bluegrass or gospel.
Yeah, I
one or the
honestly,
other.
yeah.
You know,
That's what I would
so
have thought.
So they left the park. Well, when they did, some of the musicians and some of the singers said, "Hey, man, I like a solid paycheck.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
This. I got a family.
What's that?
Yeah, went through that.
I got a family. Blah da 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 da." So some of them left, and they started replacing them. And so a fellow by the name of Danny Gregg, who was Paul Gregg's brother from Restless Heart.
Right.
His brother was one, and well, he left. Well, that's when Gene Johnson came on.
Right.
And then the last original member was the bass player, and he left. And when he did, that's when they held auditions, which was always a plague in the music business.
Of course it was.
But I had known Jimmy Olander from back when, in the early 80s, when I was playing the Opry with Jimmy C. Newman. He was in the Tennessee River Boys, and he would come over. He was buddies with our steel player, so he'd come over during the days, during our matinees. Well, me and him got to know one another over the years. So Jimmy calls me and said, "Hey, man, we're looking for a bass player that sings. We want to come over and play with us, audition." So I did, and short story, I got the gig, and the only reason is the funniest part was the only reason I wanted the gig because they didn't have anything going on. But the only reason I wanted the gig is they were about to do Nashville Now.
Yeah, which was the
Ralph.
big.
And I had
Ralph
never
Henry.
done that show.
Oh my! And it was the big show.
And
It
I
was the
wanted to
big-
do that
yeah.
Nashville Now. I
Oh,
wanted
yeah.
to do that show.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay, I'll take the gig. And so we rehearsed like we were about to go on tour or something. And we did that show.
Do I remember that on your audition, it was in a basement, and it was so cold that they turned the dryer on and opened the door?
That was we had. It was in the drummer Brian's basement of his house, and we had one light bulb in the center, and then when it's cold, that was where their laundry was.
Yeah.
So we just opened the door to the dryer and turn it on,
Wow.
and throw some heat out for it.
It's so. I think about Opryland because that was one of the first things we bought passes to when we lived here.
Yeah.
And we'd go. Country Music USA was my favorite show.
Wow.
That was my favorite. I love.
And I think Marty was in that.
Yeah, he may have been, but I look at Shonda Pierce came from that show. She played Minnie Pearl.
Jerry Sally.
Jerry Sally, one of the greatest writers, runs the bluegrass label. Stephen Curtis Chapman.
I was going to say Stephen
and it
Curtis.
just blows my mind at some of the other because they were when I'd listen to those singers.
It was a steady check.
Oh,
But nobody really wanted to be. That was almost like, don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
that we.
Well, you knew that any chance you had at commercial success is not going to happen as long as you're at a theme park.
But it's staggering.
The fans
list of-
love
the list of people that come out of this.
the
that's a
players and everything. Yeah,
The guy that plays bass beside me every Sunday morning was part of that group, David
that's-
Hatton.
that's so crazy.
Yeah, I think Dan was director of America. I Hear America Sing.
Yeah, I forgot about
I
that.
think
show,
he was the director, and his wife was in that.
Yeah.
And then I think Marty was in the one you
Yeah,
mentioned.
Country Music USA.
I think he was Hank Sr.
Probably,
and
yeah.
Larry Gatlin, and
Yeah.
he did different ones
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
that.
Marty did Larry Gatlin impersonation.
That's,
Oh, buddy. Really good, too. Really good.
I can't tell you how much I love that show. I'm not joking. It was just so good.
So do I remember that you had to go back for a second audition? Is that right?
Oh, yeah, I had to go back.
And we're mad.
I auditioned.
You were mad because you had to audition.
I auditioned and I was working with Jeannie Pruitt on the Opry at the time, and I was playing downtown. I was playing if the phone rang, I was playing.
Satin Sheets.
Yeah, buddy.
How many times did you play that?
Every time.
I know. That is so funny.
And so they called me, and I went and auditioned, and okay, well, we'll let you know. And they were auditioning some other guys, and I never heard from them for like over a month or 6 weeks, and I just forgot it, put the chart almost threw the charts away. I'm surprised I didn't. The tape, everything.
Yeah.
Okay, well, goes down under the old audition in Nashville. That's how that works. So I forgot about it. And all of a sudden, I get another call from Jimmy, and he says, "Hey, man, yeah, we're all back in town now, and want to go circle back around." And And I said, "You guys ain't got nobody?" Well, we've all gotten busy. Was out of town, and no, we haven't. And we wanted you to come again and play. So I did, and I went back over there, and they said, "Hey, man, we'd like you to join us."
It wasn't, if I remember right, it wasn't just that you knew the songs that you learned. They threw some new stuff at you.
Yeah, they did.
And you fell in. And there's something, if I remember right, that you did, and I've seen this done, and it's hard to explain to people, but you can sing a song that you don't know the words, but easing into the note halfway through the. Is that right?
And watching that mouth.
You watch the mouth of the person next to you.
Okay.
I've seen Jimmy Fortune do that.
Yeah.
And you'd have to go back and look and go, that's right. He had no idea what word was coming next.
But I was on the part.
Yeah, and that, yeah.
But is that right that you did that in that
some
audition?
of that stuff, I did, and then we did some stuff that I kind of knew and they kind of knew and that kind of thing. But I think the biggest thing is. And I'm not tooting anybody's horn. I'm just saying, immediately the 3-part harmony blended,
absolutely,
like wow. All right, now hang on, and I think that's what really helped the situation along.
Well,
but let me reiterate, man, there was nothing to get a gig for other than that TV show.
Yeah.
But you know what? This was like February or something. And there was a gig here or there, but man, $100 here, $100 there. But the biggest thing, I kept my Jeannie Pruitt gig. Let's put it that way. But about 4 months later, these guys, unlike anybody I'd been with before or played with, anything, these guys had visions of original music.
Yeah.
They wanted to record stuff nobody had heard.
Yeah.
They were seeking something different than anybody else I'd played with. Anybody else, it was all about whose songs are we learning this week and all this kind of, not these guys. We went out and we did shows. We did community concert shows. Wow. We did 2 of those tours every year. We do one in the fall, or one in the winter, and one in the fall. And it was just, community concerts was these places that sell a subscription.
Right.
And you get 6 shows a year. And we were the country music
of that.
Subscription.
So don't mess it up.
And they were big shows.
They were,
for
some shows you'd have a big crowd, other shows, and it was people that didn't even hardly know what it was.
Yeah.
They saw a pianist the month before and a quartet this month, and this month it's country music.
Yeah.
Well, we'd come out there and do country music that they hadn't heard before.
It's fresh.
We were doing original material that we had found or written.
Yeah.
Some of the guys, we do a few covers, but very few.
Yeah.
But you had unbelievable musicians too. Jimmy is one of the best guitar players I've ever heard.
Jimmy and Gene and Dan, man, they came with instrumentation that was it was just a different sound. And came May of '89, we had a meeting with one of Marty's college buddies that was a writer and a producer. His name was Monty Powell.
Okay.
And Monty had a fishing buddy, a fellow by the name of Tim Dubois.
I know Tim. Yeah, he had word for a little while.
they were fishing, and Tim said, I got this gig offer. He said, Clive Davis called me and wants me to open a country division of Arista.
I did not know this.
And he said, what we're going to do is I'm going to open the doors with 9 artists. He said, we're not going to muddy it down like others have done and they take a percentage. No, I'm going to sign 9 people and we're going to focus. I'm going to look for a female and a couple of males.
Big roster too.
Yeah, and I'm going to be looking for a group and a duo.
Yeah.
And Monty at that time in the fishing boat said, hey man, I got this band. No. These guys I've been kind of talking with. I'd love for you to hear them. And conversations went on, and Tim finally said, I'll tell you what I'll do. He said, I'll promise you I'll go hear them if you believe in them that much. Okay, so he comes and tells us, and we beg on a gig opening for Jerry Clower and George Jones.
In Alabama?
In Alabama.
Okay, that is
And
funny.
we got the promoter to give us 25 minutes. And he said, I'll pay you $1,000 if you guys would come down here. I'll give you 25 minutes. That's all I can give you. And we went to Night Train Coach and said, hey, man, we got $1,000 if you let us take a bus.
Yeah. I've heard that story.
Oh, my gosh.
And we give them $1,000, and we took a bus down there, and we rehearsed like a high school band.
Didn't Monty write down with Tim?
Yeah, he did, and we were nervous as cats, and Buddy, we got up there and did our 25 minutes, and Dubois come back after the show while Jerry Clower was on. He come back to the dressing room, and he looked at us. He said, I'm not going to sign you guys here tonight. He said, but I'm going to tell you this. I see the star power here. He said, I see something here. He said, and what I want to do is I want to take you guys into the studio and let's record some stuff and do at that time they were calling it a development
Right.
deal.
Yep.
But
3 songs, right?
Yeah. I want to take you in and record some stuff. He said, and then we'll see where we go from there. And so we went in and we cut some stuff that Monty had written, and we cut a song called I Can't Do Wrong and Get By, Rushing song, and Tim heard it and loved it. And one of the songs we cut was something that Dan had written called Pretty Little Lady. And so we cut these songs, and he said, I'm going to take these to Clive and see what Clive thinks.
Think about it, Clive David.
Yeah.
That
First name basis.
Tim Dubois,
Oh, yeah, they're pals,
Tim Dubois is great, but Clive David takes it up to Barry Manilow. Whitney Houston.
Right. Dionne Warwick. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So he takes this session, this stuff to Clive, and I remember I was leaving town with Jeannie Pruitt on the bus, and I stopped. This is before we had cell phones, so we stopped at a Shoney's, and I called because we were supposed to find out. And I called, and Clive said, "Hey man, I hear it. Sign them." And
I got
Shoney's at Rivergate, right?
yeah, Shoney's at Rivergate, and I come back on the bus, and I couldn't believe what I'd heard, and I was still cynical about it,
Bought some satin sheets.
Oh yeah, and Jeannie went and got two pies, and we celebrated on the bus.
Oh my gosh, I just love this. Okay.
And so come to find out, a little piece of humor in this. We went back in the studio, and we were going to start cutting for the record.
Yeah.
And we looked at some of the songs that we had recorded for the beginning, the development thing, and Dubois was like, man, there's something about this Pretty Little Lady. He said, I really like that. He said, but, that's just way too vague, Pretty Little Lady. She needs a name. It doesn't matter what name it is. She just needs a name. It could be anything like Norma Jean Riley. Just anything. And we went, sold. And he said, you can have that for free.
So I had heard that story, but I wondered what it was originally.
Pretty Little Lady.
Which sings the same amount of syllables.
Yeah. And he just, it literally came off the cuff. It came off the cuff just like it can be anything. Yeah. Norma Jean Riley. And doesn't matter.
And that was Dan Truman was one
of the writers, along with Monty.
Okay. That's right.
Yeah. And so we said, sounds good to us. Wow. So we went in and recut it and called her Norma Jean Riley, and that became the most played song of 1992 in radio.
There's another great story.
I love this.
And again, I hear stuff. Tell me if I got this right or wrong. But the name Diamond Rio was originally Shenandoah wanted to use it, and their record label wouldn't let them.
Wouldn't let them do it.
Really?
Yeah. So the
So
record
you got
la-
it by default.
So the record label, like Shenandoah, which later on became like 13 different lawsuits over it.
Oh, yeah.
But Shenandoah used Diamond Rio as their corporate name. Just like we use Rio Hot is what our bus is registered under. I mean, we check in under everything. Is our corporate name is Rio Hot. Well, they were using Diamond Rio as their corporate name. Well, Brian, our drummer, had played in a band before Shenandoah with Marty Rabin and Mike and them, and not Mike, but some different ones in Shenandoah. So he called them, and we had locked ourselves in a room, and the label was killing us to come with a name. You guys got to come with a name. Tennessee River Boys ain't going to be it.
Yeah.
So we come out of that room. We were going to be the T-Town Mavericks. And we believed in it so much that we went and made up 1,000 pictures with T-Town Mavericks across the bottom. This is our name. And we were about to do a community concert, so we had to have pictures. So we went and got them pictures printed up, and we handed it to the label, told them we're going to be the T-Town Mavericks. And they went, no, you ain't. We don't like that name at all. We went, yeah, but we already got pictures. They said, well, we're not going to go. That name ain't going to work. So our very first community concert, we found a paper cutter and shot the bottom off.
And sold them.
So, yeah, we sold them. So we locked ourselves in a room, and we had come up with Diamond. We really like, Diamond's really aggressive, and it's right at, but we couldn't figure out, I remember Diamond Back we thought about.
Yeah.
There was different ones, and finally Brian said, you know what? Shenandoah used to talk about this one named Diamond Rio, and we went, hey man, that rolls good.
That's awesome.
That rolls good. So he said, let me call Marty. So he called Marty Rabin and asked him. He said, man, you guys are welcome to it. We can change our corporate name if you guys want to use this.
Wow.
So we jumped on it, and the label loved it. And we officially became Diamond Rio, and Meet in the Middle came out, and the CD single went out, and we still didn't have a logo. We just barely had come with a name. And the CD single went out, and if you find some of them old CD singles that went out, it's got some logo on there that the label made up.
I'm going to go find it.
Little trivia. Do you realize that Meet in the Middle came out 35 years ago last Friday?
Holy Pete. Wow.
February 6th, 1991. Is that right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Was that your first number one?
That was our first anything.
First anything.
Yeah,
that was it. And it went number one for several.
It did in May. It finally went up. Actually, it was one of those history things that we bragged on for years and years. The first group to have their first single release go number one.
Yeah.
And back then, that was what also made y'all unique, besides great, just amazing songs, was you were playing every note and singing every note.
Yeah. And that was one of the few. We were one of the few bands that did that. I think us, Restless Heart, did it.
Yeah.
But the majority of the bands out there, and you can think of them as you will.
Yeah.
But the most of them was all just musicians, and they would. Studio musicians, and they would hand the guys in the band, here, go learn this. And with us, and you know what? Kudos to Dubois for he saw it and he said, "Hey man, you guys go make your record." And so
Gosh, I love that.
I don't think there's there might be 3 sides that's got somebody on it other than the 6 of us. I mean,
Yeah.
We had a buddy, Mike Wyatt, come and put percussion congas and stuff on one song, and then we had I Believe and Rural Philharmonic, which was an instrumental that we had orchestra. Had an orchestra come in and put strings on, but other than that,
But it was you guys, which meant you could recreate it live, which gave it an energy live that nobody else had. When you pulled in here today, right up around the corner, a guy lives who wrote one of your earlier hits, a guy named Larry Cordell.
Oh, yeah. There you go. I didn't know Cord lived right over here.
Hey, this is a big neighborhood, man.
Apparently it
Dave
is.
Clark, Larry Clark, Jimmy Fortune.
Man,
So Larry
Dave Clark
wrote-
and Jimmy Fortune, that's all I
that
needed
right
to
there,
know
that
right
right
there.
there.
I said, if there's a songwriter night on our street, I couldn't get on the bill because you got, I mean, these are big time writers. And Larry wrote a song called Mama Don't Forget to Pray for Me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I can tell you a story on that too, because
Love to hear it.
oh man,
We love to tell the
Yes,
story.
we do.
We were,
Man, I love these stories.
we were in the studio recording, and we were and Dubois had brought some demos over that he wanted us to hear, and we heard Mama Don't Forget to Pray for Me, and we all went nuts for that. We were like, oh my God, man, we've got to record that. And Dubois went, well, I'm going to need to call Cord on that. He said, because that was sent over for Alan.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And he said, it wasn't sent for you. It was sent for Alan. He said, but I can tell him, I can officially say Alan is not going to record that because Alan ain't recording anything that he ain't writing right now.
Wow.
He said, I know that for a fact. He said, let me call Cord. And we're in the studio, and he goes to the other office and gets on the phone with Cord and says, hey, man, I got these Rio guys in here, and they fell in love with the song, and they want to cut this song. And Larry Cordell says, man, don't do that to me. He said, I don't want some band nobody's ever heard of to record that song.
That's a true song.
It's still
That's a true songwriter even today.
But he had written Highway 40 Blues.
Yeah.
He had
So
enough big songs. He could
He
say
knew
that.
what was going
Yeah.
down. And he said, don't do that to me, man. He said,
Oh.
this is too good a song for some no-name band to record.
Oh, my gosh.
And he told Larry, he said, hey, man, I can tell you this. He said, I know you sent it for Alan, but Alan is not going to record this. Yeah. He said, he's not recording anything he didn't write. Yeah. And he said, man, I don't want some. And he said, I'll tell you what I'll do. He said, if you'll let us record this, let this band record this, I will guarantee you a single.
Which is
Now,
any writer worth their...
this is the president of the label. Guarantee you.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
I will single this record
Yeah.
if you'll let us cut it. He went, okay, go ahead, let them do it. So
It was a huge...
we cut
huge
it,
hit.
and it was a top 5 record for us, and we do it every night to this day.
Yeah.
I love these stories.
You know,
But
and
those kind of things, and songs like that. And again, the whole network, if I remember right, he heard, or somebody heard Cordell do that at the Bluebird.
wow,
Is where I that, you know, again,
very well could be, yeah.
but all those dots just when you sit at a table like this, you go, and I'll tell you a great Tim Dubois story. This would have been early '82, maybe '83.
Okay.
There was a studio down on the road called Fireside. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
So Tim had an office there for some reason. And the engineer, the house engineer, was a guy named Roger Holmes, who was part of a group called the Celestials. Do you remember them?
Okay.
So Roger, and back then we'd do custom records.
That's so funny.
And we had this 4 players that played, and you know they'd spend a 2-inch tape and you cram 10 songs on it, recorded tracks in the morning, vocal in the evening, and you got where when automation came in, you record with automation so that the mix was we could go to Wendy's while they were mixing. So, but one of the piano players in that little group that we always used was a guy named John Mays played bass, Jeff Chambers played electric. The keyboard player was a young guy named Dave Ennis.
Wow.
So Tim would come in. It got close to the mid 80s, maybe 83, 84. Tim kept coming in, just like we'd be cutting, and I could see him. He'd just stand there and wait for a break, and he'd take Ennis outside, and they just talk. Well, in hindsight, you realize they were talking about launching a group called Restless Heart.
Yeah, they were forming right there. Because he was, I think, wasn't Tim managing them also?
Yes.
Yeah, he managed them and then got them the deal at RCA.
Yes. So before Restless Heart, Dave Ennis was sitting in doing these, $100 sessions,
Sure,
and happy to be there. But you look back at those days, and we knew there was an excitement just to be around it. You didn't even know what was going on. Yeah. You just knew something big was happening.
Yeah.
Two of your biggest songs that I loved, but I remember, and I still hear it on 92.9 at nighttime.
Sure.
Delilah will play
yeah.
it one more night.
Yeah, one more night.
I mean, it crossed over into all the pop markets. So
and
big.
thankful to Delilah for doing that,
mean,
because they released that on Adult Contemporary.
Yeah.
And they actually, Mike Clute went in and did another remix on that for Adult Contemporary. And
I mean, I always think of that song because I remember seeing it on VH1. And
that was a heavy song.
But
man.
I remember it was so, because I loved country pop. I did. I loved country pop music, but it was such a huge song for you guys. And every time I thought about Diamond Rio, I would think about and I love I listened to it this morning when I knew we were going to do this. I loved Beautiful Mess. It's still one of my. Watching it today and listening to it this morning, I thought, man, this is just great.
Yeah. So you guys had just a string of huge monster hits. Then you end up at Word doing a Christian record, which oddly enough, I think was your first Grammy.
Yeah, that was.
And they won tons of awards. When you look at what you won,
we had been nominated. That was our I think 15th nomination for Grammys.
Wow.
And we'd always lose to either Sleep at the Wheel or Brooks and Dunn or somebody like that, because it was always duo or group, that type of category. And then we did that Christian record, and the weirdest part on that was we went to the Grammys the first time, and we went to New York and experienced it, and knew right then and there that I don't really think I'm going to experience this again.
I've heard several people.
I've said that a couple of times. I've said that a few times.
I think I've done it.
That's fun for once. I don't want to do it again.
So we had been nominated all them other times, and man, it was so awesome. And it was always, country awards never got any TV time or anything like that.
It's kind of like gospel and Christian.
That's just the way it was, and I get it, like it or not. And so we come along, and a Christian record gets a Grammy nomination. We're like, wow, man, that's awesome. And I'm sitting at the house watching it on my laptop.
Wow.
And it comes out. I said, hey, man, this is the one right here. I said, I wonder who's going to win this one. Because, after so many, man,
wow.
This is great. No, we'll get a nice medallion. And
and go on your way.
And a little thing to frame. That's great. And I'll be dogged if they came out with Diamond Rio. And I sit there in my living room and went,
what just happened?
Did you hear that?
Wow, that's awesome.
And that just freaked us out, man. Couldn't believe it.
Somebody told me that last week or 2 weeks ago, the Grammys, Brooklyn Tab won, like the gospel, and that somebody called Carol and said, "You just won another Grammy," and she went, "Well, that's nice." That's not why we do it.
Seventh or
but
eighth
those things are pretty sweet.
I mean, it is. It's really nice. We won our first CMA, and that was one of the few times that I felt like my knees were going to fall off from under me.
Wow.
But as you go along, and you win 1 or 2, 3, 4, whatever they are, I can imagine people like Vince and Brooks and Dunn. It's got a house full of them.
Yeah.
You learn that man, it's such a wonderful
Yeah.
nod to you
Yeah.
from
Yes.
all your peers and all that good stuff. But in the big scheme of things,
It's-
it don't
it
do
doesn't
anything
seem-
except just crowd your
Yeah.
mantle. I mean,
It
which
was-
is wonderful.
which
hey,
is
man.
wonderful to do.
Don't get me
but-
wrong,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
That Grammy is
Yeah.
front and center at the house, and I'm very, very proud of everything that we've done and everything
Yeah.
we've won. But
Yeah.
far as
It really doesn't do anything for the career. At least I've thought that for you.
On that record, there were some great moments.
great songs. Yeah.
And if I remember right, that may be the only cut you've ever had as a writer was on that record. Is that correct?
A Diamond Rio cut, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, as
called-
a writer,
It's called "What Are We Going to Do Now?"
yeah,
You wrote with Joe Beck and Chaz.
yeah,
Both
Jazz
stars.
Boat, yeah.
Wow.
And it actually came from I was standing in the receiving line for Glenn Weekly,
Our pastor.
our pastor that passed away, and I was standing in the receiving line to go up, and there was a big line, and I heard the people in front of me talking about how he passed and all this in this church and everything, and I'm one of them said, "Man, what are we going to do now?" And that just stuck with me.
And Glenn Weekly's name was in the first line of the song.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
What's the first line?
buddy, you're asking the
Well,
Now Dave knows.
Trust-
You
trust
know
me.
that-
How many
Dave,
years ago that was?
Dave knows. Dave knows. Go ahead and say it.
but
Dave.
you know what? There were Joe Beck was a Christian writer, and the connection you guys have always had to Christian music. Do I remember that Glenn Tadlock was like one of your first bus drivers?
Do we ever remember him?
Okay,
man?
do you know his connection to Southern gospel?
Well, we knew from what he told us.
I'll
and everything.
bet.
Yeah.
He drove for J.D. Sumner.
Okay, that's kind of scary.
And,
All
and
during the Elvis days.
Oh,
yes.
wow.
And they
wow.
would call him up.
Yeah.
Stamps would call him up to sing.
Wow.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
And there's a story. Somebody told me they called him Nowdy.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear that
Yeah.
nickname?
Oh, yeah.
And
He taught us how to speak in tongues.
Okay.
he was a character.
That's funny.
So
That is
when I
good.
first moved to town,
Shalamunda
See, here we go. Here we go. Okay.
so he was good friends with a guy named Andy Tolbert. Andy used to work at Word.
Yeah.
Andy was my first roommate when I first moved to town.
That-
And so he had a couch in that apartment that was a gift from Glenn Tadlock. And there's a lot of stories. Somebody told me that one time that he got in a fight in a truck stop parking lot. Did you ever hear this?
I did not.
And-
wouldn't surprise me.
Absolutely love a guy. But he ended up being a wrestler.
That's
I mean,
so
but all those stories, they all
Tadlock was
connect.
one of our best drivers. He was the only driver we've ever had over the years. Now, you gotta keep in mind, this was back in 91.
Yeah.
So, but no matter where we played in this country, and I swear I'm not exaggerating, no matter where we played, we would just say, "Okay, man, Davenport, Iowa." Okay. And he'd get in the bus and drive to
Just go.
Davenport, Iowa.
And just,
Didn't need a map,
But
didn't
he'd
need
been-
anything.
he'd
We
been
just went
in
to Davenport,
quartets.
Iowa.
oh my God.
We went to Walla Walla, Washington. Okay, to
And
Walla
to
Walla we went.
That is so funny.
And when he,
Wow.
I remember one time we deadheaded from Walla Walla, Washington, and he refused to get out of the seat or eat until we got to Nashville. And I went to bed 3 times.
Yeah.
He was kind of legendary.
Yeah.
And he ended up doing all the lease, like when he leased JD's bus after, they quit singing, he was the guy who would go out with him. So he had 3 lifetimes worth of stories. But
Unbelievable.
anybody that leased JD's bus, he gave a TCB hoodie.
That's,
Did you know that?
He brought on his TCB necklace, and he had a TCB
And so he-
ring,
that's-
and he let Marty wear it, for a
That's
show.
so funny. And for those of you that don't know, Walla Walla is a huge country market because they have a huge rodeo.
On the coast of the Pacific
On the-
Ocean.
That's exactly. And the reason I know that, I'm from Idaho, about 7 hours, and I made many a trek to Walla Walla
Yeah.
to see the rodeo.
Yeah,
But the
there you go.
connection, you guys had always had a heart, and obviously I know your family and all that. You part of the church, and that's one thing to say, hey, we're believers. We have a lot of Christian music market that listens to this. But I gotta say this. I had no idea. A couple of years back, you guys did a Christmas show at Opryland Hotel.
Right.
And first of all, Jimmy's a freak on that. Whatever he's bending on those.
Man, I don't see why it don't break.
So a little interesting thing. When in '74, if I remember this right, I was just a kid, but I was teaching banjo lessons at a music store in Jackson, Michigan. If you go 90 miles east in Detroit, the same year, a kid that was a little younger than me, was like 12, was Jimmy Olander. He was teaching banjo lessons at a music store in Detroit.
Are you kidding me? Oh, my word.
If I remember that right.
Yeah, I just know that he taught banjo lessons.
Okay,
when
so
he was a kid.
that night at Opryland Hotel, you got my wife and I tickets, and I had never heard you live.
Oh, okay.
I had no idea. You can hear it and know that you guys are doing all your own stuff. That show blew me away, and that was just a couple years ago. And it wasn't just a Christmas show, so there were religious overtones. I heard believers telling the story that night, and I'd love to hear your take on that. Did that ever cost you guys? It was the real deal that night.
We got a little grief for it. Opryland, there was a couple of mentions, but they didn't stop it, and they let us go ahead because we told the real story of Christmas in that, and we quoted the Bible and all this kind of thing, and we took that same show on the road the next Christmas, and for the next 2 years. After that, we took it on the road, and we were playing. We took it into casinos, and we took it to lots of theaters and this and that. And we finally did get a little grief that, hey man, I didn't buy a ticket to go to church. And it's like, well, maybe you should. But so we got a little pushback, but you know what? Not a lot. But we did get some.
When it's real, it's the Jelly Roll at the Grammys. There's things.
Yeah.
He went to a different church than I did, but
he certainly did.
But you know what? That night, that had a huge impact on me.
Me too. Yeah. And it really did. Out of all, and I studied the Grammys out. We have tons of artists, but it made me realize how his platform, he took it to a whole different place that night. Say what you want to say about Jelly Roll. Yeah. I've never seen a Christian artist do that at the Grammys. And I've seen a lot of Christian artists win, but I've never seen anybody proclaim Jesus like that. I never have.
Yeah.
I saw Rhett Akins' boys. I saw him win a CMA. And he started his speech with, "Can we say a word of prayer?"
Wow. See, I got chill bumps.
And I went, well, absolutely, man.
I love it.
But
man.
Right on television, man, he's
that.
saying a word of prayer. And that was a moment.
Yeah, I love
There's
that.
an old story, and it may have been the Thrasher brothers who... One of their sons wrote one of your big hits, "To Pump Texaco."
Oh, yeah.
Neil Thrasher, right?
Yeah.
Neil, he wrote several things for us.
One of the best first lines in my book of country music. But anyway, there's an old story about the Spears being on stage, and Dad Spear gave his testimony, and it was a real deal. And I shouldn't even use name, but I think it was the Thrashers, and stood off stage and watched it work and said, maybe we ought to get us one of those testimonies.
Okay.
But
That's funny.
When it's real, it's real.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to bring this in the station pretty quick. This has
Wow.
just been awesome.
Hey, man. Anytime you want to do B.
we
side
will.
B.
We
can do
will.
it,
We
buddy.
love that.
We would love to. And you don't know this, but Dana is a little intimidated to sit here at the table because he has his own show. It's called Radio Rehab.
I did not know that till today. I was doing my little homework. I knew a lot
You
about
do
Diamond
homework?
Rio. Sometimes I knew a lot about Diamond Rio, but all I could think about was how much I loved the music of the 90s and the thousands and the early thousands. And then I thought, well, I know, and I knew they were still out there because of Micah. And there again, I sold the Word record. And the Christmas record is one of my favorite Christmas records. The Stars Still Shine. Is that right?
Yeah.
I see the stars shine down on a daily basis.
I know you do.
Yeah, but if you're gonna go down, that highway, we're gonna talk about Strange Way.
But it's such a great Christmas record.
I was trying to set you up for something with that last line.
I know.
All right.
So, but anyway, so I got online and I saw he had this. I thought, okay, this is pretty cool. So I'm gonna have to go check it out.
He called a couple of years ago. I guess it was Roscoe Flats you'd heard.
I heard him do it live on a live, I think it was CBS or some network Christmas special.
Yeah.
And they did Strange Way to Save the World. And I, to this day, that is one of my most played. I recorded that television special.
I love it.
And I like it better than I do. They finally recorded it on their Christmas record.
Yeah.
I like this version better.
Love that.
They're great guys.
I told this story at Christmas time.
I couldn't believe it.
I was walking through FAO Schwartz, the kids in New York City.
Oh, yeah.
A couple of weeks before Christmas, and my daughter we had just talked about this song, and all of a sudden there it was, and I looked around and people were in FAO Schwartz. There were people singing it. So I heard. I think I texted you. I said, I'm walking through FAO Schwartz, and your song is playing.
I went nuts for that song, I just went nuts for the song.
Yeah.
And way later, I find out that Dave Clark is a writer on it, and I went, Dave Clark, yeah.
Can't be.
And I was like, wait a minute, Dave Clark?
Wasn't that your sister who connected that dot for you?
Yeah, and I said, hey, man, is this Dave Clark?
That is so funny.
And I immediately texted out and said, hey, man.
That's great.
Dana has become a dear friend, and
awesome.
we meet for lunch and we've talked about model airplanes and video editing,
whatever it takes to eat
songs. Yeah,
that's how we started this podcast.
Before we end this, you got a new addition in your family last year. You want to talk about this?
I do. I've got a little granddaughter that just has changed my life, and she's two, like, I don't know, 28 months, something like that. And my son and his wife had this little darling, and I tell you, she has changed my life in so many ways.
You're preaching to the choir.
So many people, and that's the thing. Many people you hear after you're a parent. Yeah, you just wait till you're a grandparent.
And you
just
laugh
wait till
at
you're a
it. You
grandparent.
laugh
And you go,
at it.
man, I got my son.
I love my kids.
The whole lines. And, buddy, I don't know what it is and what they do to you, but
they can do anything.
There's something, and I've already told my boy, I said, hey, man, we need another.
Well, they're getting ready.
We're about to walk down that road.
I told them, I said, just wait. I told Cindy, them, just wait. I mean,
I
love my kids. Our kids are 42, 39, and 31, 30. We text every day. We have conversation. We FaceTime. But there's something about those grandkids. I'm telling you,
I've never seen anything like it. And I'm just tickled to death. She can't really talk great because to ask for a new car or something. Because I just go get it.
You would go get it.
Somebody at church Sunday told me when that grandbaby gets here, you get used to the floor because you're going to spend a lot of time on it.
Right on it, buddy.
Absolutely.
You'll be right down there. And let me tell you, as they get older, you're still in the floor. You're just building blocks.
I love
That's
it.
the truth. That is the truth.
Dana, this has been a real
awesome.
honor, and love the stories. Yes, we could go another 2-3 hours.
You ain't kidding, man. Thank you for having me here.
We are so glad.
This is why
we love to tell the stories.
We love to tell the story.
I've been looking forward to coming over here there, and I'm just glad we finally got her done, and let's do her again
Yeah,
Let's
sometime.
do
we
it.
would love it.